I have a quick question for you. Have you ever felt like you're here on earth, but something's missing, something's off? Well, I'm going to tell you what. If you're a follower of Jesus, something is off. It's because you are not a permanent resident here on the earth. You weren't designed or created to be here full time. You are actually a citizen of heaven. Paul tells us in the book of Philippians that we are citizens of heaven and that our time here is short because our permanent address, our permanent residence is in heaven. Let's get into it. Hey, welcome to our new series here at Bea called Heaven's Passport. Just a quick disclaimer, this is going to be a series that is longer than normal, so I would encourage you to buckle up. There's so much to cover in this entire series that it's probably going to take us about 2 months. But that's okay. We're on a journey. We're not here to make a sprint. We're here to slow down, take everything in, and process what Father, Son, and Holy Spirit are doing. I want you to think about this for a moment, that we often live in the earth as though this is our permanent residence of citizenship. However, it's not. If you're a follower of Jesus, it's very clear what Paul tells us, that we are simply not here to stay very long. In fact, we're not here to live in the earth realm permanently, to gain approval, look for titles, search out status or belonging. He says that our citizenship is within heaven, which means we're here on a temporary assignment in this earth. I know it's pretty easy to get mixed up in establishing a home and getting married, and establishing a family and raising kids. All of those things are part of living here in the earth. And that's pretty normal, and no one can judge you for that or be upset with you. In fact, God gave the commandment to get together as man and woman and have children and multiply and take dominion over the earth while we're currently here. That word citizenship, though, I want to define for us so we have a clear understanding. Citizenship means that we have rights as individuals within a culture, that it becomes part of our identity. Some of us have what we know as a history or a bloodline. It could be that some of us are Scottish or Irish, English, Italian, German, Jewish, whatever it may be. We have a heritage that we are identified with due to our citizenship. So if you are a U.S. citizen or you're a citizen of another nation or country, there are specific laws that we have to abide by. It's called law. And the reason for the law is to protect us and keep us safe from one another and, unfortunately, from evil. As a citizen of heaven, we also live under a law or a rule of heaven. We live under its resources. We live under its protection. That's part of being a citizen of heaven. However, there's a clash when it comes between the citizenship of heaven and the citizenship of the world. The world, on one hand, tells us that we have to earn approval, that we have to prove ourselves over and over. We got to do the time. We got to put the work in, right? We got to climb the ladder. We got to engage in the hustle. But yet, heaven tells us something completely different. It says that we're already approved, that we're already loved, and that there's no ladder to climb. In fact, Paul tells us that we already have a seat at the table. We're seated with Christ at the right hand of the Father. Now, for some of us, that's a whole new different concept to think about, and that's what this whole entire series is. Setting the foundation, helping us change our lens, our mindset, and our language to match truly where we are as citizens of heaven. So this week's activation, I want to encourage you to take part in. I want you to grab your journal this week. Maybe you don't have a journal, then put some notes on your phone or write some notes out on a piece of paper, but I want you to find something that you can journal with. The goal here is I want you to write down 3 areas of your life where you have been seeking out earthly approval. It could be status, it could be a title, it could be a position. Whatever it is, I just want you to write it down. And I don't need you to take a lot of time to think about it. Just kind of do a mind dump and lay it all out on paper. But I want you to find out what it is. Whatever that may be, and even consider this. It could be, quote, ministry, the ministry that you lead or the ministry that you're a part of. And then here's the flip side of it. I want you to flip it, and I want you to rewrite each one that you wrote down as if you're living from a place of heavenly citizenship. What would God say in the opposite of the earth? Because if you notice, when Jesus walked the earth, he was definitely contradicting everything that was going on here. Earth says, I need to hustle to make it worth it, right? But what does heaven say? Perhaps heaven says, you are already worth it. I create the flow for you. Maybe that's what heaven says. That's just an example that I want to give you. But I want to encourage you to take a few moments to do that this week. Find some quiet space, turn off your notifications, and really dig deep. What are the top 3 first things that come to mind that you've been striving for in this earth realm? And then flip it. Ask Father, Son, and Holy Spirit how they view it. And how do they view it from a perspective of heaven? We need to gain a heavenly perspective again. We need to gain a heavenly mindset and a heavenly language. I'm not talking about a heavenly language as far as speaking in tongues. I'm talking about what does heaven say on a regular basis? And once you've really found what Father, Son, and Holy Spirit say about it in regards to a heavenly perspective, I want you to declare it boldly out loud. Now, I'm not saying that you got to run to your place of work or go tell your family or jump out and scream, this is that I'm worthy, or anything of that manner. What I want you to do is just declare it out loud. Believe it in your heart, knowing in your spirit that this is how heaven views you. I am a citizen of heaven because I no longer ... Feel free to share it on your social handles. Post it here in the community on Bea. We want to know because we want to agree with you. We want to pray into it with you. We want to encourage you. And I want to encourage you with this. Don't miss next week's episode. We're going to talk about what does it really mean to be seated in authority with Jesus. We're going to uncover what it really means to be seated with Christ in heavenly places and how possible it is to live from there. I want to encourage you guys that as we're starting this series to take time this week, pray about this, and really consider, where have you been living from? Have you been living from the earth, or have you been living from heaven? With God, it tells us that all things are possible, including our citizenship. So buckle up and get ready, because the coming weeks are going to light a fire that I don't think is going to be able to be quenched so easily. Thanks for joining us here on Bea. We look forward to seeing you next week as we talk about what it means to be seated in authority with Jesus.